The Wife's Letter, also known as The Letter from the Wife, by Rabindranath Tagore, is a poignant short story that explores themes of love, betrayal, autonomy, and the complexities of marital relationships. Presented as an epistolary narrative, the story delves into the emotions and thoughts of Rinal, the protagonist, as she writes a letter to her husband, revealing her journey towards self-realization and independence. Rinal, the protagonist, introduces herself as the wife of a well-to-do Bengali family. She begins her letter by recounting her life, emphasizing how she has always felt like an outsider in her husband's household. Despite being educated and articulate, she has been relegated to the domestic sphere, her talents unrecognized and unappreciated. Rinal recalls her early days of marriage, filled with hope and dreams. However, she quickly realizes that her husband and his family are more interested in her obedience and adherence to traditional roles than in her intellectual capabilities or personal aspirations. Rinal introduces Bindu, a young orphaned girl who comes to live with them. Bindu is a victim of societal oppression, having been abandoned by her in-laws after her husband's death. Rinal takes Bindu under her wing, seeing in her a reflection of her own unfulfilled desires and suppressed spirit. The family decides to marry Bindu off to an unsuitable man, ignoring her wishes and well-being. Rinal vehemently opposes this decision but is overruled. Bindu is sent to her new husband, where she faces further cruelty and mistreatment. Bindu escapes her abusive husband and returns to Rinal's home, seeking refuge. Rinal is determined to protect her, but societal norms and family pressures make it difficult. Eventually, Bindu's situation becomes untenable, leading her to a tragic end, which profoundly affects Rinal. The tragedy of Bindu serves as a catalyst for Rinal's self-realization. She recognizes the futility of her own life within the confines of a patriarchal system that values women only for their subservience. This realization fuels her decision to assert her independence and seek a life beyond her oppressive marriage. In her letter, Rinal informs her husband of her decision to leave him and his household. She explains that she can no longer live a life devoid of respect, love, and freedom. Her departure is not just a physical act but a symbolic rejection of the societal norms that have stifled her individuality. Rinal's letter is filled with expressions of empowerment and self-worth. She articulates her desire to live a life where her thoughts, feelings, and talents are valued. This marks a significant shift from her earlier passive acceptance of her fate to active assertion of her rights and identity. Rinal's reflections extend beyond her personal experiences to a broader critique of the societal and cultural constraints imposed on women. She challenges the patriarchal structures that deny women autonomy and agency, advocating for a society where women can live freely and with dignity. The letter concludes with Rinal's affirmation of her newfound freedom. She bids farewell to her husband, leaving behind a life of subjugation and stepping into an uncertain but hopeful future. Her journey from subjugation to self-realization is a powerful testament to the resilience and strength of women.